Well, an interesting story here coming out about dairy groups pushing coffee in schools. How about that? To boost milk consumption. Interesting tie-in there between milk, coffee, and schools all the way around. Let's talk about that a little bit this morning with Judy Lyle. She is a healthy living expert, Fox News radio expert. She joins us now on the other end of our line. Good morning, Judy. How are you?
Well, good morning. I'm fine. I'm having my coffee. How about you?
Well, there you go. That's that's the right way for most people to start out. I personally, I'm not a coffee drinker, but there are a lot of people who are, and that's how most people jumpstart their day, and that's not a bad thing. Well, this is interesting here. Coffee being pushed in schools, and that is something that's something I've never really thought of or even heard of before I came across this story, but this is something that dairy groups want to see happen.
Correct. And I think that the fact is that the kids are getting the caffeine in other ways. They're getting it in Mountain Dew. They're getting it in Coke. They're getting it in those energy drinks. And they're also stopping by the coffee shops, the Starbucks, et cetera, to pick up coffee before school. So two things here. The Dairy Association wants everybody to drink more milk, and it's the 1% or the fat-free. And so how do you do that and combine it with coffee and keep them in school? So they're funding these coffee bars. And so there's, right off the top, let me just say, too much caffeine is not good for you, right? We know that.
Sure, yeah.
And so they're getting it anywhere. Maybe they're in a more controlled environment in school where they're getting just so much. 1 cup of coffee for them is 100 milligrams of caffeine, and that's pretty much what they recommend for that age group, 12 to 18. We as adults, we could probably do 2 cups of coffee a day, 4 cups of coffee a day at 400 milligrams. They can't handle that. So you've got to do some education, either with the parents or the schools. But I was drinking coffee at 16. My brain came alive. It so made me feel good. And so what they're saying is, if they're drinking it in the morning, that their brains are better able to receive information, and they'll do better in school. That's one of the things. They have the opportunity to run a little business. They make money. The schools are making money. And, it reduces tardiness. And so they think that's a good deal. I think it's all about balance. In my business, For the Love of Healing, it's all about teaching people how to be aware and about being in balance with all things. So you're not going to stop them from having the caffeine, and, that's kind of my position on it.
Yeah,
I think if you say...
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you say no, that kid's going to go out and do whatever he wants to do. So why not bring them in and show them how to do it, run a business? Make them pay for it. I think they need to earn the money to pay for those fancy coffees, and that's how they learn to be responsible.
Yeah, I never thought of that kind of the economic impact there for schools. It would bring more money in if you have a coffee bar and attendance for students. Wow. A lot of indirect impact.
$900 a week some of these coffee bars are bringing in. That's $30,000 a year.
Wow.
That's a lot of money for a school.
That's an incredibly huge amount of money there. Now taking a look at this here, and we're talking with healthy living expert Judy Lyle. As we said, this push for coffee in schools is to boost milk consumption. Consumption of milk, and this is according to research, in the U.S., down 40% since 1975. Why is that, Judy? Any idea?
Tremendous milk allergies. And it's increasing every year. And so that's part of the issue. That's why they're pushing the milk. So if you have a child who's sensitive to milk, you have to be very aware of some of the reactions that they could have that can be very serious. The worst reaction is anaphylactic shock. The least reaction is an upset stomach or diarrhea. So, the parents will tell you, or the kid knows if he's got a sensitivity to milk. So that seems to be the big issue. and it just seems to be increasing. And so that's why milk has gone out of favor. And there, you've got that almond milk, you've got soy milk, you've got different kinds of milk on the market now.
Right. Yep.
And so here you've got caffeine, which too much is not good for you, and you've got milk, which some people are sensitive to. I think it's like two out of a classroom of kids would have a sensitivity to milk, and that seems to be increasing since a study was done like in 2013 or 2015. So I don't know, trying to make the best out of both worlds.
Right.
And give the kids some awareness and some responsibility. But, another person said, well, it's better that they're drinking coffee and not taking drugs. Well, that's another whole discussion.
Yep. That's exactly right. We could go down that road at any point. But is this something, Judy? Do you see this happening more? Will this become a common thing with schools in general? Looking ahead to the next several years, these coffee bars that you mentioned do you think we'll see more and more schools put these up? Because it seems like it would benefit, students, schools, just a lot of things. Seem to be more pros than cons here.
Right. Well, they're saying it controls the nutrition because they're allowing for 7 ounces of the 1% or the fat-free milk. And so they're getting that nutrition, the kids that can tolerate it. It's got the appeal of a bistro feel for kids. They love that. I mean, why not go to school and have that little bistro feel like the Starbucks? It's extra revenue for the school. They get to learn hands-on about how to run a little business with the coffee bar and make money. And they have shown that it's reducing tardiness because they're going to school to get the coffee rather than stopping on the way at the local bistro to get it. So those statistics are coming from the dairy, the dairy association. So that's their pitch.
Right. Yeah. And that's a great point there. Judy Lyle, healthy living expert, talking about this push by dairy groups to put coffee in schools to boost milk consumption, and as Judy said there, financially that would be a huge impact for the schools, attendance wise for students, those who do drink coffee, that might help there. A lot of factors in play here, more than I would have thought before this conversation started here. So interesting stuff and interesting to follow up on. Judy, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. You have a wonderful morning. And
you as well. Enjoy the rest of your coffee there, Judy, if you're still having it. But yeah, it's interesting, and even so, like a lot of churches that you go to anymore, they have these little coffee bars anymore. It's for an entirely different reason than why schools may have them. But, it may not be completely out of the question. A lot of factors in there. Very, very interesting stuff. More interesting this topic is than I would have thought before this interview began. A lot to think about there. You're listening to the 1320 WILS Morning Wake Up Ritual.